It is a Tuesday evening in June. You are sitting at your own kitchen table with a folder the pool company salesman left behind. And you have read the last page 3 times now, because the number printed at the bottom says $112,000. For a hole in the ground, in your own backyard. You look out the window at the spot where the pool would go, that sunny stretch of lawn past the patio, and you do the math on what that monthly payment would look like, and you quietly close the folder. Around the neighborhood, the story is the same. Everybody wants the pool with the automatic safety cover, the one that slides shut over the water at the turn of a key, and almost everybody closes the folder. But that quote is not the price of a pool. Somewhere between half and 2/3 of that number is labor and overhead. And the pool itself arrives on a truck as a kit that homeowners have been assembling, with a little hired help, for 50 years. Done that way, the same pool with the same automatic cover lands somewhere between $35,000 and $45,000. Stay with me to the end, because whether that cover glides shut smooth or grinds to a stop halfway down the pool comes down to one measurement taken at one specific moment in the build. And it is the moment almost everybody picks wrong. I'm Larry Mitchell. For 25 years, I ran the lawn and garden counter at our town's hardware store in Ohio, and I watched every backyard project in this town come across that counter, the good ones and the expensive mistakes. These days, I keep my own suburban lawn here in Ohio, and my wife Diane says the yard is my second marriage. Now I'll say this plainly before we start. I am not a pool contractor, and when we get to the electrical work in this video, I am going to tell you exactly when to put the tools down and call a licensed pro. That honesty is the whole reason you can trust the rest of it. So let's talk about what you are actually buying when you buy a pool. A vinyl liner pool kit shows up on a freight truck in your driveway. Inside are steel or polymer wall panels, the braces that hold them, a plumbing package with the pump and filter, aluminum coping for the edge, and the vinyl liner itself. The automatic safety cover is its own system, a motor, a long roller housed in a box at one end of the pool, and 2 aluminum tracks running down the sides. Turn a key, and the cover walks itself across the water. Turn it again, and it rolls back home. It keeps leaves out, holds heat in, cuts your chemical use, and most important of all, it puts a barrier between the water and every child and pet in the neighborhood. Now, the reason the pro quote is so high is not mystery materials. It is crews, scheduling, insurance, and margin, all stacked on top of that same kit. The homeowner route is simple in shape. You manage the project, you do the assembly work your own 2 hands can handle, and you hire out exactly 3 things: the digging, the concrete, and the electrical. Keep that shape in your head, because I will come back to why the cover tracks get set at a moment most folks would never guess. And that timing is the whole ball game. Now, before we pick up a shovel, let me show you something, because this project and your lawn are about to have a rough year together. Every pool build I ever watched from behind that counter ended the same 2 ways. A beautiful pool and a torn-up yard where the excavator tracked across it, growing crabgrass and clover like it was paid to. Disturbed soil is an open invitation to every weed on your block, and that is the fight I spent my whole career on. I wrote the plan down in a book called Larry's 30-Day Weed Kill Protocol, the neighborhood pros system for eliminating clover, crabgrass, and every weed on your block. It is the exact day-by-day system I follow to wipe out clover, crabgrass, dandelions, and the rest in 30 days, and keep them from coming back. Written for homeowners who are tired of fighting the same weeds every single season. 88 pages. No fluff. Just the plan. From identifying the big 7 lawn killers, through the 7-day elimination blitz and the pet-safe alternatives, to my month-by-month prevention calendar. It is $17, marked down from $47, which is less than 1 jug of the stuff that never worked anyway. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up Give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. Good. Now let's get back to that folder on the kitchen table, because step 1 does not involve dirt at all. Step 1 is paperwork, and I promise it is friendlier than it sounds. Drive down to your town's building department and tell them you want to put in an in-ground pool. They will hand you the permit application and the rules for your area. Most towns want 3 things: a site plan showing where the pool sits on your lot, the setback distances from your property lines, your house, and your septic system if you have one, and a fencing or barrier requirement. Now pay attention to that last one, because this is where the automatic cover starts paying for itself before you ever swim. In a great many towns across the country, a motorized safety cover that meets the safety standard counts as the barrier, or reduces what fencing you need. Ask that question at the counter, out loud, and get the answer in writing. Then, before anything else happens in that backyard, you make one free phone call. Dial 811. That is the national call before you dig line. That is 811, 3 digits, and it costs you nothing. Within a few days, the utility companies come out and paint lines on your grass, showing where the gas, power, and water run. An excavator bucket through a gas line turns a pool project into a very different kind of story. So we wait for the paint. There is no rush. The pool will still be worth it next week. Step 2 is choosing the kit, and one rule here matters more than every other. Order a rectangle. Automatic covers are built for straight lines. The cover fabric rolls off a straight roller and rides down 2 straight tracks, so a true rectangular pool, say 16 by 32 feet, or 18 by 36, lets those tracks tuck up under the coping where you never see them. A kidney shape or a freeform pool can still take an automatic cover, but the tracks have to mount on top of your deck, sticking up where toes find them, and the price climbs. From behind a counter for 25 years, I can tell you the folks who bought the simple rectangle were the folks who never came back with a problem. And order the cover with the kit from the same supplier at the same time. The wall panels for a cover-ready pool come prepared for the housing box at one end, and matching them up later is a headache you do not need. When the truck comes, check every panel and every box against the packing list before the driver leaves. Count it twice. Missing bolts discovered on assembly day cost you a week. Step 3, we dig. Lay out the pool with stakes and string lines right on the grass, and then check it with marking paint. And here is your first taste of the measurement I promised you at the start. When your string outline is up, measure both diagonals, corner to opposite corner. On a square, true rectangle, those 2 diagonals are exactly equal. If one diagonal is even an inch longer than the other, your rectangle is leaning, and everything built on it leans too. Fix the strings until the diagonals match. Now about the digging itself. You can rent an excavator, but my honest counsel from years of hearing how these stories end is to hire the dig. An experienced operator digs a pool hole in a day, to depth with clean walls, for somewhere in the range of $2,000 to $4,000 depending on where you live. The hole gets dug about 2 feet wider than the pool walls on every side. That extra space is called the overdig, and it is where you will stand while you bolt the walls together. So the hole looks alarmingly bigger than the pool. That is correct. Do not panic when you see it. Step 4. The walls go up, and this is the most satisfying day of the whole build. The steel or polymer panels stand up in the hole and bolt to each other, one to the next, all the way around. 2 people, ordinary wrenches, 1 long weekend. Now 3 words run this entire day. Plumb, level, and square. Plumb means each panel stands perfectly upright, checked with a level held against its face. Level means the top edge of every panel sits at the same height all the way around the pool, checked with a laser level or a transit you can rent for the day. If the walls are off level by ½ an inch, the water will show it forever, because water is the most honest level on Earth. And square we already know how to check. Measure the diagonals again, corner to corner, inside the assembled walls. Equal diagonals, square pool. Take your time here. There is no prize for finishing walls fast, and every minute spent adjusting now saves an hour of grief later. Once the walls are plumb, level, and square, the steel braces bolt on behind them, and then a concrete truck comes and pours a footing collar around the outside base of the walls, locking everything in place forever. That collar is one of your 3 hired jobs. Let the professionals pour it. Step 5 is plumbing and power. And this is where I split the work into yours and not yours. The plumbing, believe it or not, is yours. And it is simpler than the underside of your kitchen sink. Rigid and flexible PVC pipe, primer, glue, running from the skimmer and the return fittings in the wall panels out to the pump and filter pad. 1 fitting at a time. 1 glue joint per sentence, if you take my meaning. When the lines are run, you pressure test them before any dirt goes back in the hole, which means capping the ends, putting air pressure on the lines with a small gauge rig, and watching that gauge hold steady overnight. A line that holds pressure tonight holds water for 30 years. Now the electrical. This one is not yours, and I will say it the way I said it across the counter 1,000 times. Everything electrical on a pool, the pump circuit, the cover motor, and especially the bonding, goes to a licensed electrician. No exceptions. Bonding means connecting every piece of metal around the pool, walls, ladder anchors, cover housing, into one grid with bare copper wire, so no stray electricity can ever find a path through the water. It is required by code everywhere in this country. The inspector will look for it, and it is not a place to learn on the job. Budget $2,000 to $4,000 for the electrician and sleep well. Step 6. And now we arrive at the cover system, the part you have been waiting on. Remember I told you the tracks get set at a moment nobody expects. We are 1 step away from it now. The automatic cover has 3 parts. First, the housing box, a long aluminum vault that sits recessed below deck level across one end of the pool, holding the roller and the motor. It bolts to the special panels that came with your cover-ready kit. Second, the tracks, 2 slim aluminum channels that will run the full length of the pool down both sides, tucked up under where the coping and deck will be. Third, the motor and key switch, which your electrician wires. The housing box sets first, dead level, checked twice. Then the tracks lay in along both sides, loose, not yet locked down. And notice what has not happened yet. There is no deck. There is no concrete around this pool. That is not an accident, and in a minute you will see why it is the whole secret. Step 7. The deck and coping. The aluminum coping snaps along the top of the pool walls, and it does 2 jobs. It gives the concrete deck a clean edge, and it holds the bead of the vinyl liner. With a cover-ready kit, the coping and the track are one integrated piece, so the track hides underneath the lip where you will never stub a toe on it. Then the concrete crew comes back, forms up the deck, and pours it right over and around the track assemblies, locking them into position permanently. Permanently is the word to sit with. Concrete does not offer second chances, which is exactly why the measurement I have been promising you happens right before this truck arrives, and not 1 minute after. Step 8. The liner and the water. The vinyl liner spreads across the pool, its bead snapping into the coping all the way around. A shop vacuum goes behind the liner and pulls it tight against the walls and floor, smooth as a made bed. Then the garden hose goes in, and for the next 2 or 3 days, your only job is patience. As the water rises, the liner settles and the wrinkles walk themselves out. When the water reaches the middle of the skimmer, the pump primes, the filter runs, and somewhere in your backyard, quietly, you have a swimming pool. And then comes the moment. You turn the key, the motor hums in the housing box, and the cover walks itself out over the water, edge riding in each track until it seals the pool shut, strong enough to meet the safety standard that lets it stand between the water and a wandering grandchild. Whether that moment goes the way I just described, or the cover crabs sideways and jams at the halfway mark, was decided days earlier. So let me finally pay off what I planted at the start. The cover does not ride on the water. It rides on the tracks. The water underneath helps support the fabric, but the cover's edges are gripped in those two aluminum channels, and the roller pulls it along both of them at the same time, like a scroll unrolling between two rails. Now, picture what happens if those rails are not parallel. If the tracks drift even a half-inch closer together over 32 feet, the cover fabric bunches, the tension climbs, and the motor strains and stops. If they drift apart, an edge slips its channel and the cover sags into the pool. So the measurement is this. After the tracks are laid in place and before the concrete deck is poured, you measure the distance between the two tracks at the housing end, at the middle, and at the far end. And those three numbers must match within 1/4 of an inch. That is 1/4 of 1 inch, across the entire length of the pool. Then you check your old friends the diagonals one last time, corner to corner across the tracks, equal both ways. Only then does the concrete truck get the wave. And there is the timing everybody picks wrong. Folks think of the cover as an accessory you sort out after the pool is built. But the deck pour is the point of no return, so the cover tracks must be measured, shimmed, and perfect while they can still move. Measure your tracks after the deck exists, and all you can do is describe the problem. Measure them before, and 1/4 inch of patience buys you 20 years of a cover that glides shut like it is proud of itself. And that right there is the difference between a backyard you relax in and a project you argue with. The same way one written plan is the difference between fighting weeds every season and being done with them. When that excavator leaves and your lawn looks like a battlefield, the recovery is already written out day by day in Larry's 30-day weed kill protocol. From Know Your Enemy through the kill protocol to recovery and dominance, where I show you how to rebuild thick grass that crowds weeds out on its own. $17, down from $47. Against the pile of bottles it replaces every single year. That math sold itself across my counter, and it sells itself here. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So that is the whole build. Permits and the free call to 811, a cover-ready rectangle kit, a hired dig, walls set plumb, level and square, plumbing you glue and pros you call for concrete and every wire. And those two tracks set parallel within 1/4 inch before the deck ever pours. Tell me in the comments what state you're in, and whether this is the summer you finally put a pool in, or the summer you are still saving up. I read every single one. And next time I am going to show you how to bring a lawn back from the dead after heavy equipment has driven all over it, because there is one thing you have to do to that ground before a single grass seed goes down. And skipping it is exactly why most of those repair jobs are brown again by August. You've got this, neighbor. I'll see you out on the lawn.